Okay, let's begin. I am Lanice Antoine Shelley, and I'll be your host through constructive, healing-based conversations designed to illuminate the adoptee, parents, and the adoption curious. We center the topics around community, mentorship, leadership, and healing, so you get a multi-dimensional view that is ultimately empowering. These are the voices who could not speak when they were young. Hey y'all, if you've seen me on Instagram, I'm in my summer glow phase and I am unapologetic about it. My hair is luscious. Fun fact, I didn't start properly treating and doing my own hair until I was a grown adult because like many Black adoptees, no one showed me how to do my own hair. And because I love you all so much, I'm going to share with you my hair secret. I'm always on the lookout for things you'd love and things that will enhance your well-being inside and out. We Unique Cosmetics sent me their Moisture Lock pomade and scalp and hair therapy oil from their Metamorphosis line, and it's so decadent, light, and nourishing, fam. This has become a hair routine staple. It has a soft lemongrass scent that people comment on when I walk by or when they're doing my hair because now I have boho locks. They also sent me a 15% discount link for you to try their products and hair tutorial service. And Unique Cosmetics is Black owned and operated by a mother and daughter duo dedicated to helping the adoptee community. Check out the link in the show notes. And this is for all ages, fam. So tell your friends. So come on, embark on a hair-loving journey with We Unique World. From interactive workshops to premium products, they're all about empowering you to embrace your unique hair journey. Because remember, all hair is good hair, especially when it's healthy. Hi fam, how are you? I'm feeling very energized by this beautiful Chicago summer. Today's conversation was a lot of fun because we dissect our Enneagram character types. About 5 months ago, my mother suggested the podcast Enneagram, Trauma, and Adoption with Dr. Barbara Rila. The episode with Dr. Rila really outlines how you can utilize the Enneagram categories to heal trauma, in our case, adoption trauma. But I also find it's a useful way to get to know people you're forging a relationship with. I met Dr. Juliana Olson-Deans 13 years ago. At the time, I was in communication with all of my biological relatives. What set Juliana apart is that she is an adoptee like myself, so she was able to empathize with complexities of my position. Shortly after we first met, I felt overwhelmed with my interactions with all my biological family, and I took a 10-year break from all of them. It was long and necessary. I had to learn how to set boundaries and evaluate what I wanted in those relationships. Things are clearer now, but I still tread lightly and I don't make any promises. Juliana is my biological aunt, the youngest of 10 siblings, and acts as a liaison to the rest of my bio fam, who she speaks to frequently. When I called Juliana out of oblivion in March, we picked up right where we left off. She understood my hiatus and received me with grace. Dr. Juliana Olson-Deans is now a clinical therapist with a specialty in adoption. She helped me facilitate the Interracial Panel series and continues to be a great resource. This is how we've used the Enneagram to help get to know one another. Here's Dr. Juliana Olson-Deans. How is your heart, Juliana?
So I'm saying I think my heart is heavy right now. One of the things that we do in therapy is we ask people to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10, to just kind of get a ball game of where they are. And I would probably put my heart on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like the heaviest it's been and 1 being not that heavy. I think I would probably put it at 7,
Wow.
And I think for me, the reason why the 7 is, again, I would like to hear from my birth mom just to make sure that she's doing good. So it's always nice to hear from her. And there's been a lot of changes with my work schedule. So I've added a lot to my plate. So I'm just trying to manage that. And then And then just trying to also be like emotionally available to others, not just my clients, because my clients, of course, they pay me. So I go above and beyond to be available to them. But I think other people who are not clients, friends and family members, I just want to be emotionally present because I'm just finding myself like becoming just recluse and being very careful whom I'm spending time with. And I think part of it is just to make sure I'm able to be present with my clients and provide the best care. And I've been like wanting to do like something that involves dancing or music because that's therapeutic for me, not just here at the home, but like outside, So I think there's something going on next weekend. So I'm going to make it a goal of mine to just be in that space because I know it's healing for me. So that's where I am. What about you?
I am probably at a 4 or a 5. Yes, I am loving the reclusive nature of this world right now. I'm a homebody, so just give me a reason to not show up for things. During the quarantine, I was living my best life. I was like, I don't have to go anywhere, see anyone, and you give me permission to just vanish. Absolutely. I'm all about that.
That's
so yeah. I'm as of for the future, the only reason that I say it's a 5 or a 4 is because there's so much uncertainty in my life right now. There's a lot of just purgatory and that is unsettling. So, but in this space where I'm sitting right now, I would say it's a 10, or do you want to be a 10 or do you want to be a 1? What is
you want to be a 1. 10 is like the happiest your heart's been, and 1 is you're at peace with everything that's going on in your life. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say I'm a 1 then. Right now where I sit, I'm a 1. But when I try to project myself into tomorrow, into this next week, I feel my heart palpitations start to quicken and I start to escalate to a 4 or 5 just because there's so many uncertain things, so many things that I'm trying to manifest and conjure. And who knows? One of the things I want to discuss with you is the Enneagram, because I started going deeper in the Enneagram. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Enneagram, please go to the EnneagramInstitute.com and take the free test, because that's what I did. And I'm really into typology tests and gaining deeper understanding of who I am and how I deal with the people around me. And I remember our conversation, Juliana, of when you found out that I was a 1.
Yes. Yes, go ahead.
You were like, oh my God, you're a 1.
Yeah. And I research, I don't know how many hours. I'm like, how does Enneagram 1 get along with a 2 wing 3 personality type? Because that's what I am. And yes, so go ahead.
Okay, well, let's break down the 9 personality types, okay? So a 1 is a reformer, the rational, realistic type, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. 2, the helper, the caring, interpersonal type, demonstrative, generous, people-pleasing, and possessive. 3, the achiever, the success-oriented, pragmatic type, adaptive, excelling, driven, and image-conscious type. 4, the individualist, the sensitive, withdrawn type, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. 5, the investigator, the intense, cerebral type, perceptive, innovative, secretive, and isolated. 6, the loyalist, the committed, security-oriented type, engaging, responsible, anxious, and suspicious. 7, the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. 8, the challenger, the powerful, dominating type, self-confident, decisive, willful, and confrontational. 9, the peacemaker, the easygoing, self-effacing type, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. And out of the 9 types, you oscillate between 2 different types when you get angry or when you get excited or in a very good mood. So I oscillate between a 4 and a 7. So the 4 being the individualist and a 7, the enthusiast. The enthusiast is when I'm at my most positive. The 4 is when I'm laughing because I'm looking at the description and my eye falls on dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm at my worst, I go to the sensitive, withdrawn, expressive, dramatic, self-absorbed, and temperamental. That's when I'm at my worst.
Okay.
Yeah. So watch out, everyone. But when I'm at my best, the enthusiast, the busy, fun-loving type, spontaneous, versatile, distractible, and scattered. But every day I default to the 1, the reformer, the rational, realistic type, principled, purposeful, self-controlled, and perfectionistic. So you are what? What is your baseline?
First, I want to explain that not all of the Enneagram types have a wing, but mine just happens to have a wing. So I go between a 2 and a 3. I understand and attend to the needs of others. I seek acceptance and accomplishments. I enjoy group settings and meeting new people. I repress my own negative emotions and I avoid being disliked, undervalued. And then there's something that you mentioned, the last one for Enneagram 2, possessive. I'm not very possessive. So that's why I kind of waver between the 2 because that's not me at all. I guess maybe sometimes I'm trying to think if there was ever a time I was really possessive. Others would like me to be. You know, they want me to be more possessive. They want me to have some form of jealousy, hold on to sentimental things, that kind of stuff. I see whatever is mine needs other people. If somebody else wants it, I share very easily. But I remember in college, I had a car and I was going away to either visit family or at that time, maybe my then boyfriend, who's now my husband. And I just let somebody borrow my car. And I didn't know her that freely, that closely. And I just allowed her to borrow my car. And people didn't understand that.
Do you think possessiveness is only applied to materialistic?
No, and that's why I also mentioned jealousy. So I think it's also in sentimental things, there's been times when people have given me something and if I have no use for it, I want to give it away. People no, you can't give that away. They spend their good money and they don't make that much money or they want you. It's a family heirloom. But if I don't like it or if I don't see a use, I have no problems just sharing it with somebody else who sees the value in that item that I do not. So it's not always materialistic. Emotionally, sometimes for myself, I'm not emotionally possessive. And one of the things that I had to work hard in as a therapist is being more empathetic. I had professors over at Nova share with me that I let go easily, and not just emotionally detached, but if I don't think it's useful to you, I don't think you should also invest emotionally in it. The supervisors that I had told me I need to hold on to whatever that emotion and process it further, that the clients bring to me and look at it from different levels. Because I think, again, it goes back to some of my belief systems, especially being a little bit of an existentialist as well as a stoic. If it's not useful to you, I think you should get rid of it. And that's both emotionally as well as materialistically.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to understand with clients, it doesn't work like that. And I had to understand that even with myself. I give myself permission to cry. I just schedule it. I try to. Most of the time, I'm very successful. Other times, I find myself, if I'm watching a movie, I may just cry for too long, longer than I would wish. But I'm just very emotionally aware, I guess. That's what I would say.
Because I definitely practice a detachment to material things. There's only, like, if I were to move out of this house that I live in now, my plants and my art, and that's all that matters to me. Like, even my clothes, like, all of that is replaceable. Those things are not replaceable because, to me, each artistic piece is a living thing.
Yeah.
And has a spirit of its own. And I want to honor that.
You do make some wonderful art. And I know last year you had the opportunity to actually have an art show.
Yeah, I've actually had quite a few exhibits. When I was in grad school, I had like 3 happening all at one time. And this is how like over functioning I am. That was like the height. Well, maybe not the height, but the first peak of over functioning that I hit was while in grad school. I was working at the Harvard shop, had 3 exhibits, and was never late on any assignment in school. And I was just go, go, go. Yeah. 1, 1, 1 all day. 1, 1, 1.
Going back to what we were discussing before, your art, which it's glorious. When I was in the orphanage, because remember I was adopted at 8.5. None of us had anything that was our own. Around Christmas time, that was one of our favorite times because that's when we had the most guests who wanted to gift us adoptees or orphans with different presents. And it wasn't that our names was on it. You would just go get something and they just had boys and versus girls. And I just remember whatever I got, I knew I had to share with other people. So I just still have that same mindset. So whatever I have, I always feel like I have to share.
I believe I have that mindset too. I'm very generous to a fault at times. And I am trying to right now get a hold of that and really discern who's worthy of that generosity, because my love language is doing acts of service and gift giving. That's my love language. And I just like throw myself into caring for people and giving them my resources, giving them my time, and to the detriment of my spirit at times. And so right now, this year has been focused on working on my codependency, because that is a symptom of codependency. And it's a symptom of me trying to prove my value to people, prove my worth. And so I no longer do that. I literally said to a friend the other day, I said, just so you know, I can't help you. And they were like, what do you mean? I wasn't looking for that. And I said, well, I have a habit of helping people in extreme, grandiose ways, and I can't do that with you, just so you know. And I mean, they understood, and that's not what they were looking for, but I had to set that boundary for myself, because these patterns of not enoughness, of showing people my value rather than them discovering it, rather than them acknowledging my value without me having to tap dance for it, is something that I am shifting in this new paradigm. And it takes a lot of work and some uncomfortable conversations, but it's absolutely necessary. But
so what you just said, is that really also a characteristic of the Enneagram type 1 personality too?
the perfectionism, absolutely.
Okay.
I think because of my need to be perfect, and I think perfectionism in general stems from a need to show your worth.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think that's how it shows up in my
Mm-hmm.
type 1 of trying to get everything perfect, trying to get my relationships perfect, my interactions perfect, and that is a type 1 personality, most definitely. And one of the things that I really appreciate about the Enneagram is it creates an opportunity for you to, one, examine the relationships in your life and figure out, how can I best interact with this person? Because I know you did that for me to try to figure out, how do we work together? How do we exist together? And I think that's smart. Any tools that we can tap into that allow us to have a deeper understanding of who we are in certain situations, I think that is a sign of genius and striving to be better, have deeper relationships, have more profound connectivity with people. And that's what we all want. So why not just utilize this really great system that's set up, an easy free test online. And this is not an ad, by the way. A free test online that allows you an opportunity to say, okay, this is me at my best. This is me at my worst. And let's look up my mom, or let's look up my boyfriend or my spouse and figure out how we can best manage this relationship. Yeah. Have you looked up your husband by chance?
No, he has not done it.
Okay.
I know for me, like one of some of my weaknesses, being a 2 wing 3, is right here, tendency to be overly competitive or obsessive. And like I said, that I work very hard on, at least not showing people how competitive I am. So I'm glad, like last time I think I had spoken to you, said, oh, I haven't seen that side of you. That's because I keep that under wrap, because when it comes out, it's hard to pull back. Not acknowledging their own needs, taking criticism personally, and criticizing themselves and others when under pressure. I don't generally criticize others, but I know internally I criticize myself. And I just always want to know, like, what could I have done differently? Did I do that misunderstanding? Or, I become obsessive with that. Like, did I do enough to make this happen? And I think one thing for us when we were communicating that worked is that you were very clear, with your expectations, what it is that you needed. And anytime I talk to you, there's something I take away from it, like I'll make a statement, oh, that's deep, or you leave me with wanting more, and also with the ability to process our conversation. So after I'm done talking to you, it's not like I stop and I just move right on. I carry that conversation with me, and it helps me grow in a personal level, sometimes in a spiritual level. And even though we don't have the same spiritual beliefs, some of your statements makes me grow my own spiritual belief and my belief system with God. And I think you're very good with being empathetic, and you listen very well. And for me, being a wing 2, being a 2 wing 3, that's important, to just know that that a person like yourself are very intentional. And even the way you started that conversation is, how is your heart? How do you ask that question and not listen intentionally, empathetically, with that sort of question? And I think that's very important for a 2 wing 3. So once you do the personality test, you'll understand why I'm saying the way we can relate to the world. And hopefully it's beneficial to whoever decides to take the test.
Hey, I want to share with you something that has changed my life. It's more like someone, my therapist, Why is she so important? Well, because I want to win in this life. I want to break through the carousel of stories I've compiled that hold me back, that keep me from expanding into my full potentiality. Stories of unworthiness, not enoughness, and even stories of questioning why I am here. I also want to stop dumping my unsorted feelings on the people around me and reacting with the same behavioral patterns that keep me stuck. Conversations with my therapist have made me more confident, clearer in my intention, and more centered in my spirit. That is why I am elated that we are sponsored by BetterHelp, where you can, from wherever you happen to be right now, match with a therapist tailored to your exact needs. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. Someone who you can text at any time and schedule online for either a chat, Zoom, or phone call. And if it turns out that your therapist isn't the right fit, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional cost. Visit the link in the show notes, betterhelp.com, when they were young, to get 10% off the first month. You need to click the link in the show notes in order to get the 10% discount. I want to see you win, beloved. Let's do it together. Visit the link, betterhelp.com, when they were young. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking on the website right now, and another website, truity.com, has a bunch of typology tests that are a lot of fun and quite comprehensive. And the way they break down defining characteristics of the Enneagram type 1, serious and straightforward during conversations, check. Attuned to practicality and frugality. I don't know about that. My mom, when she listens to this, will be like, yeah. I'm not the most frugal person. Hardworking and diligent as employees, check. High internal standards, check. Rigidity in plans and decisions, check. Intense ability to concentrate, check. Natural talent for teaching and instructing. But let's break down defining characteristics of the Enneagram type 3. Acutely aware of social niceties, impressive range of accomplishments, extremely busy and ongoing, jam-packed schedules and meetings, may have interest in improvisational or acting. Do you have interest in that?
I did, believe it or not.
Oh my God.
I did long, but I'm too busy for all that now. As I said.
That is hilarious.
So, yeah, when I was in high school, I actually played two parts. It was a Helen Keller movie. You got to remember, kind of like with your background, I was raised in a conservative background, and I was pretendly the only Black person in my school. It was a Christian school. So they did Helen Keller, and they needed two Black individuals. They couldn't find them. So I had to play Percy. Percy was, I think, like 10 years old or something. And then I turned around and I put old clothes on because then I had to be the maid. So I played a 7-year-old and then like somebody was in their 40s and 50s.
That's hilarious. This one is you to a T.
Yeah, that's why I'm both. I'm like 2 and 3.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like
let's look at
2.
Let's look at 2, defining characteristics of the Enneagram type 2. Warm smile and eyes, approachable, radiates kindness, vocal volunteer or activist, excellent team player, caring and gentle, nurturing and patient, smooth flowing movements.
Reading that, I can't help and think that also describes my mom, my birth mom.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all of those also describes her. I would have loved for her to take this. I wish Ed offered it in Creole. I wonder if they offered it in French, because that's her. Like, she radiates like, I don't know, she comes into the room and you feel warmth from her. You look into her eyes, you trust her, you know, she's very welcoming, she's very approachable. I've heard that by so many people, you know, and even your mom, your adoptive mom, says that my mom has the same qualities when she met her. Yeah. You met her. So what was your experience with her?
I adore your mom, my grandmother. Yeah. And she was always so gentle, and I liked that she didn't expect anything of me. And I could feel that. It was palpable that there were no expectations. There were no just stipulations to her love. And when she would pray over me, she always wanted to pray over me. And there were these like really elaborate prayers. And as a kid, I used to pray like that because of her. And I learned how to pray like that, just full body prayers, praying over people. And imagine this 4-year-old just like, Lord, Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was me, you know, and everything was a celebration and everything was a prayer. And that was because of my exposure to your mom. And so it's great to have somebody from my biological family that I remember and that I trust, because honestly, I don't remember my biological mother, but I remember my grandmother. Yeah. So that's interesting. I vaguely remember my brother, my older brother, who was at the orphanage with me. But yeah, my interactions with your mom have always been just quite lovely. And what I wanted from a reunification, because I did not get like a blissful reunification that every adoptee imagines would happen. But the closest to it was with your mom.
Wow. Well, thank you from her. You want to make sure she says thank you. And this is probably the time when she'll start caressing your hair and hugging you.
Yeah, just petting me.
Yes.
Petting me, you know. But sometimes you need that, right? Just that dotage. And I remember her taking my hand so firmly, just taking my hand in hers and just like, or hooking her arm in my arm as we walked. And it wasn't like a possessiveness. It was guardianship. Yeah. And that's something that I have strove to have like all my life, is someone to protect me and guard me and hold me precious. And I'm still in search of that. I don't know if I've ever truly felt that. And I did feel that with your mom. Yeah.
My dad has some of those qualities, but I don't know if it's just different because my mom's a female. So she just does that. But yeah, my adoptive father does have some of those qualities. And I mentioned to you, their birthday, if it's not the same day, it's around the same time. They're both born in October. And my adoptive father is October 8th. And I can't remember if my mom is October 8th or 18th. But yeah, they have similar personalities. Yeah. But my mom definitely, when you leave her presence, you feel encouraged, you feel renewed and refreshed. And she's my Elijah. Yeah, she's my Elijah. And I prayed that I would be able to pray the way that she does. And that I would even be half of what she is, you know? So
you are. I hope you know that. I know it's hard to believe that or see that in yourself, because you hold someone to such high esteem. But I definitely see your mom in you. And when I met you, I was able to put 2 and 2 together pretty quickly because you are your mother's child. Definitely. I'm sure she's proud of you.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest compliment anybody could ever give me. Yeah, so thank you for that.
You may have noticed that I did not ask Juliana where she could apply courage. I think our investigation of one another, our genuine curiosity, our willingness to try, is the epitome of courage. You witnessed it. Here are my reflections. 1. There are so many fun ways to get to know the people around you. Why not explore the plethora of resources literally at your fingertips? 2. When unpacking typology tests, be flexible. Not everything will align, but you'll be surprised how accurate the results can be. It's hard to hear about yourself, but a healthy dose of self-assessment will help you level up in every area of your life. 3. Once you have the information, apply it. Be an active observer of your life and change your relationships for the better. 4. You have value just as you are. There is no need to prove to anyone your worth. You matter, your life matters, your voice matters. All right, thanks so much for listening. Being with you is the highlight of my week. You can find the Enneagram resources in the show notes below. Another beautiful episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to my guest today. If you liked this episode, the best way to support me and this work is to write an iTunes review, a 5-star review. This helps us reach the top of searches and helps more people to find us. And if you personally want to connect, please reach out on Instagram or Facebook. And I have some great resource material on my website at laniceantoineshelley.com. So go on over there too. Until next we meet, go gently and have courage, my love.